Each morning, real setups are broken down with entry strategies and technical reasoning behind every trade. This is today's best trade setups with Verified Investing.
Welcome to today's best trade setups. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at Verified Investing. Today, we're going to go over a couple stocks that are making all-time highs like MU as well as LITE. SanDisk is into some key technical resistance. And the QQQ, I'm following this nice upsloping trend line that finally broke to the downside and now is looking to possibly retest or not only take out the all-time highs, but then retest the underside of this upsloping trend line. Let's go ahead and get into the charts. I'm going to go over several different stocks. They're going to be brief, just to get our minds kind of set for today's session. So that way we can have, if there becomes volatility, we can take advantage of what's going on in the markets. The first one I'm going to go over is MU. Here we have a couple different levels. One thing I'm monitoring is this upsloping trend line that starts from the 11th of August, 2025. And then you've got a couple other other pivots that this trend line has hit on the underside. As you can see in the pre-market, we're trading right here at $291.43. The first level of resistance was 285.27. Now that it's already through that level, it is off the table. Now we're looking at a whole round number of $300. So $300.27 would be, for me, the first technical level, just because it's a whole round number, psychological number, and this would be a great entry point, knowing that we still got the underbelly of this upsloping trend line at $306.60. This would be a technical level for either an add to it or a starting position. As you can see, every time this the underbelly of this upsloping trend line has been hit, we've had a significant resistance and a pullback, which is one of the reasons that I still like this 306.60. If we start busting above $300, again, that would be an additional add level. I'll probably add every $3 higher on MU. This would be a max extension on this before we can get like a 3-5% pullback on the chart of MU. All right, let's go ahead and go into Oracle. We've been monitoring this for quite some time. Here's a downsloping trend line that I'm monitoring. It looks like it's trying to retest the underbelly of this downsloping trend line. If we start breaking through, your first level of resistance is going to be right here at $201.99. So the reason I have this is this was a previous pivot top on the Oracle chart, as well as a little bit more price consolidation. Although it is a key technical resistance level, I'm not interested until it pushes up to about $210.57. You've got this wide range green bar candle, and then a couple days later, you had this huge wide range red bar candle that basically took out all of this price action right here, then got below it, finally tried to get above, and then had some negative news on earnings, dropped below. As price action gets back up into this $210.50 level, you should have some people who were stuck in this trade who are willing to exit their trade for a little bit of either a profit or a slight loss, driving the price down. We want to be right there with them, knowing that there's additional resistance here at $223.14. So this is an aggressive level, and this is where I would start a short today. Those of you who are more aggressive, $201.99 would be your level. For some reason, if Oracle does decide to fall, you have this nice gap in the charts at $180.04. This was additional. This is a lot of support in this area. We had a lot of people who bid this thing up, and then it had some good TikTok news, which is why we have this continued move to the upside. AVGO is another stock that we've been monitoring for quite some time. I have readjusted my entry price based on the fact that the longer it takes to get to an upsloping trend line, to retest the underbelly of an upsloping trend line, the higher and higher the resistance level becomes. So for me, my first level to short AVGO today is $361.78. Not only do you have this upsloping trend line, which would be a slight pierce, but you've also got this wide range red bar candle, and then all of this price consolidation in this area. So you should have some people who were stuck in this trade and willing to exit on a slight loss, selling this down. And we want to be on that side of the trade with them, take this price continually down. Intel is another stock that we've been monitoring. It didn't get down to my $34.50 entry price. Now it's getting a little bit of a bid. It never confirmed that this was a true breakdown. So what I'm expecting today is price to get back inside of this, recapture this pivot top right here at $37.85. If it can do that, we're likely to push higher and get back up to this gap in the charts at $40.70 or 78 cents. This is where I'm looking to short this. From the lows of the charts or the lows of Wednesday, this would be a 17% move. Doesn't seem like a big move. However, Intel can get some momentum behind it, especially if it recaptures this upswing trend line. Price can break through the $37.85 level. It can get up to this $40.78 level. And again, this would be my shortable level. Let's go ahead and go into Nvidia real quick. My short level is this wide range, the top end of this wide range red bar candle and this price consolidation here. So first short level is $193.59 as an aggressive level. For me, I'm waiting for this gap in the charts at $199.05 to short the stock of Nvidia. Let's go ahead and jump into the Qs. The QQQ, I have this pivot, this upswing trend line. It connects the low pivot from the 23rd of May, 2025. Kiss this trend line here. And then look at how many times it is consolidated and bounced off of this trend line. Did get a little bit of a breakdown, got back above it, finally confirmed below, and then retraces scene of the crime right in this area at $627. Price got rejected, as you can see, once the price got, as soon as this upswing trend line support broke away, now it's resistance. So what I'm looking at is the first shortable level at $632.08. It's still a gap in the charts that needs to be filled. I'm not interested in shorting this until it takes out this gap and then this pivot top right here at $636.73. And then my first shortable level is $640.07. Again, this would be another retrace to this broken upswing trend line. So you should get a rejection off of this level. On a 15-minute closing basis, if it decides to close above this upswing trend line, then I would stop out and then look for additional resistance on the upside. You're probably looking at around 650 before a pretty significant pullback. Yesterday or Wednesday, we were looking at ALB. ALB, I still have an aggressive level at $153.20. Based on this price consolidation right underneath this resistance level, if price can get above this, we actually have quite a bit more upside. This resistance level will turn into support. So I'd look for a breakout and then possibly a retrace to the scene of the crime if we can get some confirmation. It wouldn't happen today. It would probably be Monday or Tuesday, but you could actually be looking at a lot more upside in ALB if we can recapture this resistance level here. Still not at all-time highs, but the chart of ALB looks promising for a continued breakout. MU is at all-time highs, like I was mentioning. It did bust above $285, and now in the pre-market is trading at $291.38. My first shortable level is $300.27 today, knowing that I've got this additional upsloping trend line as resistance, connecting this pivot top from the highs of August 11th before a decent pullback. As you can see, every single time price action has hit this trend line, it's gotten rejected, rejected, rejected. So this is a lot of resistance on this upsloping trend line. Plus, not only that, but you have this whole round number of $300, and then $306 would be and 60 cents would be an additional resistance level based on this upsloping trend line. All right, let's go ahead and go into a couple more charts. Tesla is another chart that we're watching. Similar to what's going on with ALB, you're getting this price consolidation right under this whole round number of $500. So for me, my next shortable level, I did have $525, but now that it's taking longer and longer to get to this upswing, the upper end of this parallel channel, $530.32 is where my shortable level is for Tesla. SNDK is a little bit more volatile today. It's getting towards a gap fill as key resistance, and then LITE is breaking out, and it looks like it wants to head quite a bit higher. Let's go ahead and go into SanDisk, SNDK. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. The first shortable and aggressive level is $265.88. It looked like it was going to get there on Wednesday. However, it decided it wanted to get more of a pullback. You're still having additional resistance at this upsloping trend line, the underbelly of it in this crux of this basically trend line that connects the pivot top, or this gap fill, and this upsloping trend line. So $265.88 for those of you who are aggressive. For me, my first shortable level is $283.10. That's just below the all-time high pivot at $285. Now, LITE got right above the $400 even number. I did not mention this on Wednesday, but this was a great shortable level. Got a decent rejection, and then towards the later part of the day, it was a half day, got a little bit more of a bid to the upside. For me, $425.07 is the underbelly of this upsloping trend line. So for me, this is where I'm likely to go short, 425.07, if price can get up there. The charts of LITE has been a little bit more volatile lately, which is great. We can take advantage of that volatility in the markets, look for a $5 to $6 pullback if it can get up to $425.07. In a market like today, where it's not a half day, it's a full day, but we're still in a holiday season, so there's not going to be quite as much volatility, and there's not going to be quite as much volume. So what I'm looking for is high volume stocks. Yesterday, on Wednesday, LITE was only trading about 100,000 shares right at the open. So I actually stayed away from this stock. If the volatility lacks and the volume lacks in this particular stock, or any other stock that I'm looking at, if it's not heavy volume right in the morning in the opening bell, then I'm going to shy away from it, just because when you have less volatility in the market, less volume in the market, it doesn't give you the fear and greed in a stock like you normally would see if you have higher volume. Then you have some more capitulation. So keep your eye on volume today, a little bit more volatility, and price capitulation. So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me this Friday morning, the day after Christmas. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. Gareth Soloway is going to be going live in less than 3 minutes, talking about what's going to happen going forward. If you guys are getting something out of this, please make sure you guys are sharing with your friends. Even on markets like today, there are still opportunities if we're prepared for them, and that's what we want to do. We want to make sure you guys are prepared for what's going on in the markets ahead of the opening bell. So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time in the church. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.